Hey, BassGeek here, and we're going to talk about early spring jerking. All right, guys, so we're going to talk about jerking it in the spring. That's right, early spring jerkbaits, and that is one of my favorite ways to catch bass this time of year. So before we even get started talking about the jerkbaits themselves, let's talk about rod, reel, line. Let's jump right in, talk about rod, reel, line setup, and why I like this kind of two rod system that I have. This is, and again, you can't find it. I'll put this, I'll put a link to one that's comparable to it down in the description so that you can pick one up. This is a 7-foot. Now you guys, depending on your height and how you fish a jerkbait, you may want to go with something just a little bit shorter. A 6'10", a 6'8", that's fine. If you're on the shore doing it, more than likely that 6'8", even a 6'6", is probably something that you might want to try. This is for what I always lovingly refer to as rip baits. Now guys, there's a lot of different jerkbaits on the market. My two favorite, I tell you this all the time, is the Mega Bass Vision 110, the 110 plus 1, the 110 plus 2, the 110 Junior, and kind of the same, all the variants of the Rapala Shadow Wrap, the Shadow Wrap Shad, the Shadow Wrap Deep, the Shadow Wrap, oh gosh, I forgot the one, Rip Stop or whatever it's called. Basically any variant. I love these two baits. I've just known them so well. One that I actually run off and forgot today is actually the Smithwick Suspended Rogue. Guys, that is a staple in my jerkbait box and has been for years. Now that bait I really consider a rip bait. And what I mean by rip baits, guys, there's twitch baits and there's rip baits. This is my rip bait rod. I like a little stiffer. It's a 7-foot medium power fast action. And why I like that is because a lot of times I'm really working those baits hard. Your KVD, your Strike King jerk baits, I consider that a rip bait. Anything that's large and has a more rounded body to it. The KVD is a little square. Some of the Lucky Crafts are the same way. I really consider those rip baits. They have better action when you have a little stiffer rod and you can really hit those baits hard. When it's colder, I'm not a big fan. As we get into the middle to late spring, yes, those baits work fabulous. The reason I like these are what I call twitch baits. Now, why do I have a twitch bait on a rip bait rod? Is because this has a very much bigger bill and this is a heavier bait. So I can still twitch it with this rod. Don't get me wrong, it's not just for one thing. But I pair this with my Akuma Hakai, the new reel, 7-3-1. I can cast this bait and these baits a mile. The Mega Bass are just a little bit heavier. So are the baits that I mentioned before, like the Smithwick Suspended Rogue, the KVD jerkbait. All those are just a little bit heavier, and that is what this is for. I can cast the heavier baits, no trouble, with this reel, the Akuma Hakai, a mile. And a lot of times, depending on the depth I want to get, it's either going to be 8 or 10 pounds. Rarely do I ever put 12 because I'm fishing such deep lakes, but 10 to 12 for most of you guys is what you're going to get away with. If you're on the bank, absolutely 12-pound test. Fluorocarbon. Me, I like the Canine, and I've actually been using their monofilament on steroids, their regular Canine, which is kind of a copolymer. I guess it's closer to a copolymer. It's got a little more soft touch. Now, if I'm ripping, I want the Pro 100. I want a contact with the bait. But if these twitch baits, I can get away with that regular Canine. Now the other rod setup that I run all the time, and these Rapalas are a little lighter other than the Rip Stop. The Rip Stop I'll actually throw on that. They're a little bigger. And this is almost 100% a twitch bait rod. The reason why is because it's a 7-foot medium, moderate action. So it's got a real soft tip. So I can cast these lighter baits a lot farther. Now, I teamed that up with my Team Lose Custom Pro. This is a 6/8 to 1. This is a 7/2. I like them right in that. Really, this is just, you know, the Hakai, I'd like to see it in a 7/1, but that 7/2 is just fine. I don't tend to move it with the 6/8, which is one of the keys. You don't want to move it with the reel. You always want to move it with the rod tip. But one of the reasons these are one of my favorite is because the Rapalas actually are slow sinks, which I'm a big fan of. But again, I go right back to the same line setup. Generally, this is going to be a smaller line is going to allow you to cast farther too. So that 8-pound test almost always on this, 10-pound maximum on this particular combo. This is a great combo. I can cast some really small, even the X wraps on this a mile. Great combo. Both combos get the job done. That's just my system when it comes to what I like. Now let's talk about baits themselves. Let's talk about colors. Now, one thing, I've got 2 jerkbait boxes. This is kind of my go-to. As you can see, this is my Flambeau Zeros Max, guys. I'm telling you, best in the business. Great stuff right here. This saves hooks. This is my go-to right here. And guys, realistically, when it comes to a jerkbait, there's really 2 to 3 colors that I really care about. Number 1 is going to be some sort of translucent shad pattern. This is a 110+1, and it is completely translucent down the body and a white back. That is a great color right there. Now, just as I was saying, here's another great. The belly is very translucent. That's in the Shadow Wrap Deep. And then this one is a solid pattern. I don't remember the names. I'll put these in here. But these dive to around 8 feet, and if you let them slowly sink, you can get them down way deeper than that. So if I come out on a day like today and hit is, you know, really dead slick calm, but there's a little bit of color to the water, and I want to throw a jerkbait, I'm going to throw something that's super translucent. Something else that I love to throw middle of the winter, especially on sunny days, are these new 110+1 juniors. And these are the flat paint job, so they're not flashy at all. That is a very natural, I think that's a natural shad, but it is a very good one on days like today where it's bluebird sky, dead slick calm. If you want to throw a jerkbait, downsize. That's another reason why the Rapala Shadow Wraps are a small jerkbait, and I really, really like the size profile for those. The next color are going to be your bright colors, guys. On those days that the water's a little dirtier, or you've got a good overcast, or a little bit of chop to them, you know, here you go, your algae bone or algae bone, however you say that name. One of my favorite colors right here. It's got that little bit of blue down the bottom of it. I'm telling you, on a cloudy day around wood, that bait right there has caught me some of the biggest jerkbait bass I've ever caught before. It is a great color, and I think that's just called the mossback shiner. So it's got that little bit of blue in the belly of it. And that's generally where I go. I'm going to get something with a little bit of blue, a little bit of purple, maybe a chartreuse. I keep my jerk baits really simple when it comes to stuff like that. One thing that everybody wants to talk about when it comes to jerk baits are going to be retrieves. So let's go out here and I'm going to show you my go-to. I'm going to give you one retrieve and I'm going to tell you how to adjust it, and you're going to go right out and catch some fish doing it. So right here is a great place to catch some of these bass. You've got a single log out here. It's a hot, sunny day, you know, or getting hot. So one of the things I like to do is make sure I place it right up there by the trunk. And then that cadence, literally, my cadence is twitch, twitch, pause, twitch, pause, twitch, 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 pause, twitch, twitch, pause. Now, what I was telling you earlier, the biggest key to a jerkbait is the amount of pauses. All right, so always, or the length of the pause, I should say. So Always just wait. If it's cold, which this water is very cold, I'm going to give it a few more seconds to sit there. And so basically what I'm going to do in cold weather is I'm going to sit there and I'm going to give it somewhere in the neighborhood of about 3 seconds. And then I'm going to go all the way up to 5, maybe 8. Generally, if I'm waiting 8 seconds to get a bite, I'm probably looking for another bait. First, I want to apologize to you. I forgot to film the outro of this video. Guys, I've got a really in-depth beginner video on the jerkbait. You'll find it basically under my how-to baits playlist. You'll also find it under most viewed. It's going to be there. But we do have to announce the winner of the lipless mystery tackle box. So let's dive right into this, and then I'll say my goodbyes. All right, we're going to copy it over here to the random comment picker. Let's see, we're going to filter duplicates, include replies, and we'll just see if they put in there what you were supposed to. 251 comments. All right, let's see who wins. All right, Rob DY72, did you put it in there? Yes, lipless, hashtag lipless. Thanks for the tips. You do really helps. Thank you. You watching and supporting the channel really helps. Rob DY72, Rob D, I don't know, whatever. Make sure you send me an email. It will be in the description of every single video. Every single video. It's BassGeek.BiteMe, BITEME @gmail.com. BassGeek.BiteMe @gmail.com. All right. Congratulations, guys. Again, sorry that I forgot the outro. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, questions and comments in the comment section below. You guys know I love to talk fishing with you. Like it if you like it. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button. As always, ring that bell so you get the notifications when the latest and greatest videos come out. As always, I appreciate and love each and every one of you. You guys rock.